There's nothing scarier than that millisecond that turns into ages between when you ask someone out on a date and when you hear the answer. It's freaking terrifying as one puts it all out there to either be embraced or stomped on like a bug. These two films both deal with the darkest recesses of dating. This is the Best in Horror Countdown 2024 through 2025. At number 12 is Companion. It was released on June 31st, 2025, and is streaming on HBO MAX from New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers. It's directed and written by Drew Hancock. Iris, played by Sophie Thatcher, and her new boyfriend Josh, played by Jack Quaid, decide to spend a weekend with Jack's friends at an extravagant mansion in the woods, owned by a billionaire. Iris feels uncomfortable around Jack's friends as she feels they look down on her and she would rather stay home and simply be with the one she loves, Jack. But the death of this billionaire sparks a series of events that will turn everything Iris knows about her world completely upside down. I'm being intentionally vague about Companion, but all you have to do is watch the trailer of the film and the big twist that I'm hiding is revealed there, which I feel is a huge mistake. One of the best things about Companion is that I saw the ambiguous first trailer, and while I was inundated with various intriguing and perplexing imagery that made me want to see the movie, I still found myself not really knowing what it's all about. Well, I guess with this newest and final trailer, the producers believed that the audiences needed to be spoon-fed by the plot, but I don't really want to get into specifics here, so I'll leave the surprises for the movie. The film is good enough to be recommended on its own without treating the audience as if they were idiots. Companion is a wonderfully complex examination of love, relationships, and free will, and how all those concepts can be perverted in this modern day and age. Iris's rose-tinted relationship with Jack is not that uncommon. While the twist definitely makes it a horror concept, the meat and bones of Companion really has more to do with blind love we all find ourselves stricken with at some point in our lives. It's about those moments of clarity where the blinders come off and the world concept we believe in is ripped away, in this case with bloody and violent force. Jack is older than Iris, who herself is presented as quite naive and uncomfortable with anyone other than Jack, so there's already a difference in the power dynamic. How many times in the early stages of a relationship have you found yourself in that vulnerable state where your partner holds all the cards and those rushes of excitement wave over you simply by being in the same room with that person? This film does a wonderful job of showing the horror of that feeling, that being in love is great, but it also can be terrifying, overpowering, and quite torturous by giving away one's heart to someone else. Anyone who has felt heartbreak or just had a notion of fear that your partner will betray or leave you someday is going to relate to Iris's plight. It's that emotional core that makes Companion such an effective film. Iris is vulnerable and open with Jack, and that's an extremely scary place to be. Companion is filled with delightfully clever and witty dialogue, spoken by a truly talented cast. Jack Quaid, in his short career as an actor, has played a variety of roles, ranging from the weak-shelled but strong-willed Huey from The Boys to the deceptive and dangerous Richie from 2022's Scream. He embodies the everyman, but uses that visage to really lure the audience in to show he's got some teeth under that awkward smile. Here he plays a complex character, one who loves Iris, but also, maybe unconsciously even, takes advantage of her, with those feelings expanding to gigantic levels by the end of this film. On the flip side, Sophie Thatcher is newer to me. I loved her in Heretic, and have just started watching Yellow Jackets, where she kicks ass as a younger version of Juliette Lewis's character. Here she has the vulnerability and lack of confidence down pat as Iris, but it's when she gains a little confidence and the upper hand that it's so satisfying to watch that character metamorphosis. Yes, Companion has twists and turns galore, but while avoiding outright spoiling that, I can say that it's quite the roller coaster ride from beginning to end. The strength of the cast, including the amazing Harvey Guillen from What We Do in the Shadows, the up-and-coming electricity from Smile 2's Lucas Gage, and the sublimely funny performance from Rupert Friend as the Russian billionaire Sergei. All make these twists believable and worth following. The gore is aplenty, and the blood does floweth for sure in this violent feature, but what truly makes the movie a standout is that it deals with a collection of feelings that many are uncomfortable addressing in their own relationships. Companion is a wonderfully crafted little horror film that deals with some issues we'll definitely be dealing with one day as technology continues to advance at such a rapid rate. But it's all outer coating, because it addresses the blind spots we all have when giving up a part of yourself to be in a relationship with another. It shows us a less than attractive aspect of how that vulnerability can result in the exploitation and sometimes utter devastation of what makes us human. I highly recommend you see Companion. Skip the trailer, it gives away far too much. It's a fantastically smart and vibrant horror film brought to vivid life by some truly talented folks in front of and behind the camera. Up next is another deep, dark dive into dating. Worth noting today is The Dead Thing. It was released on February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2025, and is streaming on Shudder. It was directed by Elric Kane and written by Elric Kane and Webb Wilcoxen. After a never-ending series of swiping through dating apps and going on meaningless dates with random guys, Alex, played by Blue Hunt, finally meets a keeper in Kyle, played by Ben Smith Peterson. But after a night of soulful and physical connection, i.e. scrogging, Kyle disappears, leaving Alex crushed. But when Alex runs into Kyle at the same restaurant a week later on another date with another woman, Kyle doesn't remember their encounter. Is Kyle just a flake? Or is there something supernatural going on? Hint, there's something supernatural going on. There have been an awful lot of dating horror films these days. I get it. Horror is often geared towards the young, and dating is a major aspect of the youngsters. I've talked before about how I never use online apps, and don't think I ever will, as I feel it's pretty creepy and shallow to choose a date depending on one's mood and doctored online pic. Still, I understand why people who are more compelled to live one's life online would use that very outlet to find their significant other. And horror's go-to is taking something relatable and making it grotesque and unsettling. So a horror film about a great date turning into being ghosted by a real ghost is a good enough premise for a movie. The Dead Thing centers around an Aubrey Plaza type that seems to be all the rage with gals these days. The thing is, Aubrey Plaza is Aubrey Plaza, and seeing a group of modern gals act all apathetic, disinterested, and completely over wherever the topic of discussion leads in both their professional and personal lives really isn't original or appealing. It only works for Aubrey Plaza, and maybe a few select others. The rest are just assholes. Sorry, I'm getting a bit too worked up about this. This may be striking a bit close to heart. Anyway, Blue Hunt is that type of gal as Alex in The Dead Thing. She seems to be in a romantic rut, as well as a professional standstill, yet there is a perseverance in her that keeps her going to work, and yes, motivates her to keep on choosing guys to date on apps. This is quite the comment on how the dating scene has devolved into a series of rejections and hookups, as shown in the cliched montage that occurs at the beginning of The Dead Thing, a scene used in relationship horrors and romance films so much that there needs to be a moratorium on it. But things start looking up when Alex meets Kyle. Immediately they spark, and it is interesting seeing this girl who is so guarded and protected by her own apathy melt, and we get to see that softer side of Alex as she really seems to want to get to know Kyle and take it to the next level. This change in attitude takes place over one glorious night, showing how right under the surface all of these feelings Alex felt she was above really were. The thing is, what makes this film so focused on the horrors of dating so watchable is Blue Hunt herself. She is enchanting in The Dead Thing. She really leans into the goods and bads of her character. We later learn that Alex is not without sin herself, and much of that steely, too cool for school exterior is a result of some horrible things she's done. Still, the young actress makes every moment in this movie worth watching. I'm looking forward to seeing her grow as an actress in future endeavors. Hunt makes this ghosted by a ghost story interesting, as it seems Alex tosses herself towards this guy and hits a wall of enigmatic behavior from Kyle. When they were together, they were close and seemed to have something special, but when she runs into him again at the same bar on a date with another woman, Alex is confused. The ironic thing is that she has probably left quite a few guys in the same way, but none of that matters as it is happening to her right now. This is a horror story, so of course, something spooky is going on. The film evolves into a comment on the minefield one must walk while dating. The horror does eventually come, and of course Kyle is not the perfect dude he says he is. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a horror movie. It's obvious filmmaker Elric Kane and his co-writer, Webb Wilcoxen, know about the roller coaster ride modern dating is, and they choose a great cast to convey these complex relationships. Again, Blue Hunt is a true find, and her co-star Ben Smith-Peterson makes it understandable why she would fall for him, though he does have kind of a dumb meathead sort of way to him that comes out in a very disturbing scene later. The Dead Thing has the patience, though, to really get into the complex minutia of forming a relationship, patience that most other modern horror films have to offer. There are minimal but effective effects, both for Kyle as he transforms from Biff Hunkley to appear as he was when he died, and during the sex scenes, which seem otherworldly for Alex, and pretty nice for me to watch as well. Hubba to the mother-grabbing hubba. I ended up really warming to Blue Hunt's distant Aubrey Plaza-ness and understanding both why she was that way and why she would fall so hard. It's her performance that is probably 75% of this recommendation. The Dead Things tells a very human tale about the need for connectedness and how that need can make one do some horrible things. This is a slow film, taking its time to lay out a lot of character groundwork and relationship drama before really revealing its ghostly antagonist for what exactly he is. So those who are less patient and need a body count with their horror will be disappointed with The Dead Thing. But I stuck with this film, and I'm glad I did. As always, feel free to agree, disagree, or how about you play along at home and give me your own picks for your own favorite movies of the year. It's October, so let's talk horror. Come back tomorrow for the next level in the Best in Horror Countdown. Be sure to hit all of those pertinent bells and whistles down below, and you'll never miss a post. Happy Halloween, folks.